This book had no reason to be this good. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to MJ's Whimsical Writings. This is a series where I talk about books, creative writing, and whatever else I find interesting. And today, I'm going to talk about a book that blew me away. This book is called The Blue Castle by L.M. Montgomery. Some of you might already be familiar with Montgomery's work. For those who don't know, Montgomery is the author of Anne of Green Gables, which is considered a classic amongst most people, myself included. You probably had to read it in middle school for some dumb school project and then never had to pick it up again. But for me, I learned of Anne of Green Gables all on my own. My mom handed me a bunch of classic novels one day and told me to have at it. Some of them included Moby Dick, Little Women, and, of course, Anne of Green Gables. I fell in love with Anne of Green Gables and its story. It's so homey and always makes me feel nostalgic whenever I go back and reread it. I might talk about Anne of Green Gables on this channel one day, I don't know yet. That or I'll make an article talking about it on my Medium platform. For anyone who doesn't know, I write about a bunch of other books on Medium in case you want to support me elsewhere. The link will be in the description. However, today we aren't talking about Anne of Green Gables. Today we're going to talk about the Blue Castle. So let's jump right into it. The story follows Valancy Sterling, a single woman nearing her 30s in 1900s Ontario, Canada. So, if you didn't already know how the story is going to play out, now you do. Valancy is constantly bombarded by her abusive family, questioning when she's going to find herself a man to marry. Remember, this is in the early 1900s, so women were more pressured into finding someone and settling down. Nowadays, it's a lot different. Valancy had always followed her family's wishes all her life, despite being the black sheep of the family. But at the start of the book, she starts to feel unsure about her life. Is this really what she wants? Being the follower instead of being the leader in her own life? After getting one too many sharp pains in her chest, she decides to go to a doctor. Her family's strictness really comes on display here, as Valancy has to sneak around her family to go to a different doctor than the family one. Once at the doctor's, the doctor ends up telling her that she contracted a heart disease and she doesn't have much time left. It's when she realizes that her time on Earth is limited that she decides to live her life the way she wants to. This is going to sound kind of morbid, but I love it whenever death is used as a motivator in stories. Death is permanent, so it drives characters to be more proactive with their lives. Valancy eventually moves out of her family's house to live with Roaring Abel, the town freak, who has a sick daughter. Her family is deeply against this, but it's not like they can stop her. Throughout the book, they call Valancy sick instead of defiant. I assume this has to do with the time period the book was written in. Back then, a woman not doing what she was supposed to do was probably more considered an illness rather than a defiance. Like, oh, she's just sick in the head, she'll get better soon. Not entirely sure, though. Valancy starts to feel more at home when she moves in with Roaring Abel and his sick daughter, Sissy. She becomes their live-in maid, tending to the house, the gardens, and Sissy. She also starts to notice Barney, a man around her age, who is shunned by the town for being a quote-unquote bad influence. Valancy can relate to being the odd one out. Eventually, Sissy dies, and Roaring Abel tells Valancy to continue her life somewhere else. He's extremely grateful for everything she's done for him, but he knows her condition. He knows she doesn't have much time left. So, in a desperate bid not to move back to her family's house, she asks Barney to marry her. On paper, that is. He doesn't have to fall in love with her. She just wants a place to stay and feel wanted by someone. Once Valancy tells Barney about her condition, Barney agrees to marry her. Barney is surprisingly written really well for this being, written in, the 1920s. While he doesn't like Valancy at first, or loves her, he makes sure to treat her properly and doesn't just pretend she's invisible. They honestly act like really good friends at first, going out in Barney's car, taking the kayak out, stuff like that. One day, while Valancy and Barney are walking around, Valancy gets her boot stuck in some train tracks, and a train is coming right for them. Barney manages to save her just in the nick of time. But Valancy realizes something. What happened to her chest pains? The doctor told her that any sort of excitement might be fatal due to her heart disease, so why isn't she dead? This causes Valancy to have some doubt about the doctor's prognosis, and it seems like it causes some doubt in Barney as well. Barney ends up leaving for a bit, leaving Valancy in the house all by herself. It's here where she starts to look into her diagnosis. Turns out, the doctor had given her the wrong diagnosis. There are two Sterlings in town. one with an I and one with an E. Nothing was wrong with Valancy to begin with. You'd think she'd be relieved, but no, Valancy is devastated, because in her mind, she's been trapping Barney in a loveless marriage for almost a year now. She doesn't believe that it's fair to keep Barney trapped in this marriage. But before she can process the information, Barney's dad comes to visit. Turns out, Barney is actually the heir of a massive fortune. His dad owns a pill company, but Barney didn't want to be a part of it, so he cut ties with his dad and moved to Ontario. He didn't tell Valancy because he didn't want her to see him differently. So when Barney comes back, Valancy and Barney have a talk. She tells Barney about the false diagnosis and wants to divorce him so he can live his life without her. However, Barney tells her that he's fallen in love with her over the past year and doesn't want a divorce. After having little luck with her romantic life, Valancy feels overjoyed and agrees to stay with Barney, as she's grown to love him too. The book ends with the two of them moving away and starting a brand new life together, one that's free from any secrets. And that was The Blue Castle. I loved this book more than you could realize. The writing was a bit hard to understand because it was written in old-timey English, but I still got the gist of what was going on. I didn't mention it much, but Valancy's family is so deliciously hateable in all the best ways. They clearly don't want to see Valancy grow and mature into being her own woman, so when she's given the chance to escape her abusive environment, her family deems her sick and unwell. The only real problem I have is that Valancy didn't cut off her family completely. In fact, at the end of the book, her family ends up finding out about Barney's fortune, and only then do they change their tune about Barney simply because he's rich. But I guess they did move away from them at the end of the book, so that's good, I guess. Valancy growing into her own person throughout the book was insanely satisfying as well. Like I said before, death is such a great motivator in media, because it gets the characters' asses in gear and makes them think about what they really want out of life. As for Valancy, it wasn't staying in her family's shadow forever. It was helping people, like Sissy and Roaring Abel. It was fostering connections, like what she did with Barney. It just goes to show how much death can impact someone. All the side characters are also very interesting as well. Roaring Abel and Sissy were only in the story for a little bit, but their presence was still so impactful to the point where I almost started crying when I found out that Sissy died. Ugh, this book is so good, everyone. If you haven't read it, what are you doing with your life? Read it and realize the importance of life and death already. And that's all I have to say about The Blue Castle. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please check out my writing blog where I talk about books, writing tips, and other things. Feel free to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye!